Hi, welcome to third grade. If you have a third grader here at Dorothy Fox, you are in the right place. Each of the third grade teachers will present during this video, so stick around. My name is Mary LaFour, and I team teach with Miss Wick. Mrs. Walker and Mrs. Gerald team teach together, and Mrs. Bergstrom has her self-contained classroom this year. Every student at Dorothy Fox, even third graders, get a designated half hour a day towards social emotional learning. We also put that learning throughout our day to help the kids manage big feelings, emotions, to get through struggles with curriculum that they think might be too hard. And we also have the help of Mr. Baxter as well, who comes in. Some of the topics you see on the screen: kindness and respect, friendships and relationships, growth mindset and setting goals, managing, again, the emotions, and being able to choose a strategy that will help them get back into the green. If your kids have been talking to you about the zones of regulation, we use those colors to help us be more aware of how we can be in the green zone, because when we're in the green zone, that means our brain is able to connect neurons to learn new and difficult things, as well as make good decisions, not just in content of academics, but also in their social and peer relationships. A couple things about communication. Our entire district uses Parent Square. So the third grade team has been sending out a weekly Team Awesome newsletter. Please make sure you read that. It has lots of important information about dates coming up, as well as great talking points for you to have with your child about what they've been learning. We also put things in there about activities that are happening just in third grade. On Parent Square, you can send private messages. If you have a team teacher situation, it would be great if you could send the message to both teachers. That way everyone is in the loop. The district and the school, Dorothy Fox, send out messages through Parent Square. And then other things you can find in Parent Square are reminders from us, as well as the district and school, any links or files that might be important. And then we will do our conference sign up on there as well. Speaking of conferences, we'll have a 20-minute family conference the first week in November, Monday through Thursday. All days, Monday through Friday, will be early release, so 12:10. Please, again, be looking in Parent Square for communication about how conferences will be run, and then an opportunity to sign up for your preferred date and time. Many of you are familiar with the Fox 4. If your student has been at Dorothy Fox, we have a song that the kids sing at usually most assemblies. If you're new to Dorothy Fox, then you should ask your kid about the song. We've sang it a couple times this year. But it's very simple. We tried to keep it so that kids could remember, I am safe. And we talk about scenarios throughout the school where you can be safe and what that looks like and sounds like. I am respectful, I am responsible, and I am a learner. And again, we spend a lot of time talking about what does that look like and sound like if you're following the Fox 4. And the kids earn Fox positives from any adult when they're caught following the Fox 4.
Hi, I'm Lauren Bergstrom, and welcome to the ELA portion of our third grade learning night. Your child's reading and writing teacher may be myself, Miss Wick, or Mrs. Walker. In third grade, we do have a big shift in our reading instruction. We are no longer teaching students specific skills they need to decode and read a text, but now we're learning how to read and to get knowledge and new learning from that text. Every day, your child will interact with their instruction in different levels. We do have daily word work where we'll be working on spelling, vocabulary, grammar, and different parts of speech. Of course, we will be having daily reading lessons. Right now, students are working on reading realistic fiction and understanding what that means to them as a genre. We're also working really hard on analyzing that text and thinking about what the characters are feeling, how the author models the character feelings through dialogue and actions and motivation. We're talking a lot about problem, solution, and plot, of course, and the sequence of events in a story and how that's impacted by dialogue and character action. In our writing lessons, we are currently focused on our narrative unit. Students will also be writing informational articles and persuasive or opinion pieces. We are continuing our ReadyGen content. So ReadyGen is a great curriculum because it's cyclical. So that means right now we are working on our narrative instruction with our realistic fiction and our story writing. In the winter, we'll transition into research and writing informative articles. In the spring, we're going to continue that research, but we're going to be shifting into organizing our information in a manner that will help us write strong opinion pieces. After the spring, we can analyze our data and think about what move would be best for our students and where we can circle back through our instruction to make sure our students are really ready for fourth grade.
Hi, third grade Fox families. My name's Kyla Walker, and I'm one of the ELA teachers on the third grade Fox team this year. And I'm going to share with you some information about benchmark assessments. So we do benchmark assessments 3 times a year, fall, winter, and spring. We're measuring fluency and accuracy. Fluency is how many words correct per minute your child reads, and accuracy is how many words are read accurately in that minute. For beginning of the year, third grade, the benchmark is 73 words correct per minute, with your accuracy being 96%. In the winter, that fluency number moves up to 105 words correct per minute, with your accuracy at 96% correct. And then in the spring, sometime near the end of the school year, the fluency goal moves up to 114 words correct per minute, with the accuracy being at 96%. Your child's progress will be communicated through you via conferences, report cards. If there is a concern that we have outside of that time frame, we will share that information with you. We'll contact you via Parent Square or a phone call to touch base with you, and so that we can work together to progress your child towards his or her reading goals. I also want to share with you some ELA resources so that your child can have access to reading materials at home. You're all familiar with Clever. And so we have Epic, which is an app on their Clever page that will give them some access to articles, and they can have the articles read to them, or they can read them themselves. There is also Freckle, which is an app the district uses that provides some ELA and math practice. And then we have the Typing Agent, which is on Clever. And that is an app that helps kids with keyboarding. And in third grade, keyboarding becomes really important because of the Smarter Balance assessment is all on the keyboard. So taking that stress of hunting and pecking out allows kids to focus on their response to reading and writing prompts that they will be given for that assessment. So if you can work with your child on the Typing Agent at home, that's really great help, and just takes one more piece of anxiety out of that testing for the child. Also, there's the Camus Library. They can provide you with book bundles based on your preferences. They do curbside pickup. They'll hold books for you. They can make recommendations for you. So the public library is a great place.
Carol, and today I'm going to talk to you about our third grade math content. Math looks like in third grade classrooms. So we have a number of math procedures that we go through each day, and majority of our math classes begin with something we call Number Corner. This is where students learn to use the calendar time to find patterns. They make predictions. We also incorporate reasoning, and we provide evidence for our thinking. There's a lot of visual thinking strategies that go on with this, and math vocabulary is also included. We also incorporate number talks. These are just images or target numbers, or if it's a problem that could be solved correctly or incorrectly, and students will decide and defend their answers or share their thinking, and it's where everyone can feel successful because there is no right or wrong answer. It's just getting students to use their math vocabulary and to think about math. Obviously, we have mini lessons and whole group instruction. This is where students are working on listening and asking questions. We do think, pair, share. We do writing in our math journals and just understanding the concept. So it's where new material is pushed out. And then also we find ways to get students to respond appropriately and to show us what they know. In addition to those, we have workbook pages to review and practice our skills. These will be sent home periodically at the end of each unit. There's also technology work. We have students working on Freckle, Zern, and then other websites that we'll add throughout the year, such as Khan Academy and a few other ones for math practice. So check the newsletter out for updated links to help with that. Because our students have Chromebooks and we're a one-to-one school, we also utilize Google Classroom, where we push out Google Classroom assignments. And so we can get our data really quickly. It just gives us another way to go green, but also teaches students how to use this platform, because as they grow in our education system, they will be doing more and more things online. And as we learned last year, we never know when we might need to pivot and have an online learning day. So it's just really good for third graders to learn how to work inside a digital classroom as well as the physical classroom. Math benchmarks. So for our fall report card, they will come home at the beginning of December. We want to really focus on students understanding their adding and subtracting using 3-digit numbers, and they're going to be doing with and without regrouping. We want students to fluently recall math facts for multiplying and divide by 2s, 5s, and 10s. Students will also be expected to solve 1- and 2-step math stories with addition and subtraction. Students will use place value understanding and estimation to perform multi-digit arithmetic. Really want students to understand the why in why numbers are the way they are. They need to understand the word digit and place and value all have different meanings. A digit is simply a symbol, just as letters can make up words, digits create numbers. And the place in the number tells us what its value is. So it's either in the tens place or the ones place, hundreds or thousands place. And then if we have a digit 7 in a thousands place, then the value would be 7,000. So understanding that math vocabulary is key. And then we are also looking to see how well students have grasped the understanding of multiplication and understanding how to use those strategies, such as arrays or loop groups, making a picture, repeated addition. So we'll be talking about models, strategies, and properties of multiplication. And we're just jumping into this standard, so we don't want to go too far in December, but you will see some progress on that standard. and then it will progress throughout the year. Also, fluently recalling math facts is we are using a timed test. So we'll see those in Friday folders as well, and talk to your student about what's working best for their brain and how they should be studying. So we're going to talk more about math practice. So a couple of things to help is the triangle flashcards. So we sent these home in Friday folders or in our folders a few weeks ago, and students are able to cover up one corner and then think about the fact-family relationship on the triangle. So those triangle flashcards can be used for multiplication or division. You can also use a deck of cards and turn over one and multiply by 2s, 5s, or 10s. So if you turn over the number 3, multiply it by 2, multiply it by 5, multiply it by 10. There are also many apps that are free, such as math fact practice apps. You can download those on tablets or other little devices that your student has access to at home. Simply calling out facts while in the car or making dinner or even on a walk, and asking your student to look for patterns. So if they write all their multiplication facts, looking at a pattern. Are they all even? Are they all odd? Do they make a pattern odd, odd, even? What's happening to the ones place? What's happening to the tens place? Trying to think about the reasoning and that repeated addition. And we know that using fact families helps students to actually learn 4 facts at once. So if you know 2 times 3, then essentially you can flip it and know 3 times 2. You can divide it, 6 divided by 3 and 6 divided by 2. So by learning just 2 times 3 is 6, then your student will then know all of those facts. So as we move through our multiplication facts and division facts, you'll see that your student will pick up momentum as we go further and further, because once you've learned your 2s, 2 times 3, then you already know 3 times 2. So as we go through each one, the amount of facts that they will be fluent with should increase. So what should we work on the most? This is a question that math teachers get often. What are we looking at? What do we need kids to know before they go to 4th grade? And it's never too early to be looking at this and thinking about this. So we're going to look at the third one first, adding and subtracting. Students need to have a really good base foundation for adding, subtracting, for number sense, and for that place value understanding, which is essentially what we've been working on all fall, and we will continue into December. And then all the way through to the spring, we'll still be calling on that knowledge as we move into adding and subtracting with regrouping and using that algorithm more and more. So we want to make sure we understand adding and subtracting. Then multiplication and division. So we really need students to know their multiplication facts. They need to be able to go to 4th grade and have a really good foundation for their facts. And the reason this is important is when students see multi-step problems, they need to be able to think about what they need to do, like what is happening in the problem, instead of worrying how many times they need to draw a circle and what they need to put inside the circle and counting up. And so when they start to get off on drawing those models for just multiplication and division, then they forget about the strategies that they have for their word problem. And then a lot of times their answer isn't reasonable because it doesn't match the problem. 9 times out of 10, it's because they didn't know their math fact and they were too busy worrying about that to then finish the problem. Once they found the multiplication problem answer, they were just done because their stamina for that problem was gone. So we want to make sure our students are fluent with math facts, but that they also understand what's happening. We need students to understand fractions. Now, fractions are simply taking a whole and dividing it into equal groups. We know that benchmark fractions are things that we use in our daily life. Wholes, halves, fourths, comparing fractions to 0, half, or a whole, unit fractions, which just names one part of a whole, and then to make equivalent fractions. So if we have 2/4, we know that that's the same as 1/2. So thinking about fractions when you think about food and when you're cooking with your student this year would be really important to help build that foundation for fractions, but also remember that fractions are dividing. Problem solving. We know that problem solving is something that a lot of students don't feel confident with because there's a lot of reading that is involved. However, in math, we are able to read those word problems with them, to them, and we just need them to think about what's happening. Something that I tell my students is, when in doubt, draw it out. So if your student is stuck on a word problem, encourage them to think about what's happening and draw a picture.
In third grade science, your child will get a chance to experience physical science, life science, and earth science. We use mystery science for the bulk of that teaching with some hands-on activities. Right now, your child has just finished learning about engineering design, where they created conceptual models to build a tall tower, and then created a physical model using marshmallows and toothpicks. We'll continue with force and motion. Another activity we'll be doing is using magnets to understand force and motion. In life science, we no longer have the animals come visit our classroom, but we will be learning about plant and animal lifestyles, their life cycle, in addition to things that in their environment, how the environment affects the way they live and certain characteristics they have, and invasive species. And in earth science, we study climate and weather. What's the difference between those? And then setting up experiments to understand how we might use our understanding of climate and weather to create something that will withstand certain weather elements.
Hello, third grade families. My name is Wendy Wick, and I'm an ELA teacher here at Dorothy Fox, and I'm about to share an impactful slide with you. On this slide, we can see that the number of minutes that you spend reading at home with your child matters greatly. We ask that students are reading at home with their families for 20 minutes a night. For each family, that's going to look a little bit different, but it's important to encourage your child, if they can, to read out loud to you primarily. You might also kind of have a reciprocal back and forth of my page, your page, or share your reading with your child, or even read to your child on those nights where they're just exhausted. But those 20 minutes really do matter, and they add up. This graphic shows us what outcomes look like for a student who reads for 20 minutes a night, and the cumulative effect of that time that they spent reading results in greater levels of achievement on standardized tests. A student who reads 5 minutes a night, we can see the cumulative effect is much more diminished. And a student who reads one book or 1 minute a day is not making the progress that they could over time. The cumulative effect of those 20 minutes is critically important. And beyond just the minutes, I would encourage you to think about how your family can create quality experiences around literature, listening to your child read, celebrating their strengths, celebrating their success, monitoring for expression, modeling expression, monitoring for vocabulary, having conversations about words, conversations about stories, conversations about characters, making predictions, using voices, making reading a really nurturing time where you are cuddled up in a loving space and enjoying that time, rather than having it be a chore and something that's punitive or something that has to be done. Joyful literacy, as it turns out, has also been researched, and researchers understand that families who model joyful literacy and the loving of books and the connection to that nurturing family time, those children achieve higher outcomes in their literacy development over time as well. So we encourage you to ask your child to read out loud to you 20 minutes a night, or share that reading time. If an adult isn't available, an older sibling, can step in from time to time. Just try to make that 20 minutes sacred and special and nurturing.
Why read 20 minutes at home? Reading affects so much of your life. It affects your math, it affects your writing, your reading, science, everything is tied to reading. The tricky part with reading is that our brains are not wired to read like we're wired genetically to speak and communicate. We have to learn to read. And the English language is very complex. So having that 20 minutes to read at home every night is like going to soccer practice and practicing for an hour. The more you practice something, the better you get at it.
In the next few slides, I'm going to be sharing with you some more information about the developmental levels of your child, ages 8 through 10, and the shifts that they are experiencing in third grade. Third grade is an important year. You might have already sensed it. You may have had a child already pass through third grade. Third grade is a grade where we spend more time reading to learn than learning to read. We also want you to know that it's an important time for your child to feel productive struggle, to feel challenged by what's happening at school, to learn new skills, and to be able to advocate for themselves. We meet your child at school every day with nurturing, love, and respect, and we honor the challenges that they are going through, and we can help them navigate those changes here in the classroom. We love it when parents support us by helping to nurture your child through those challenges as well. Listen to their feelings, believe in them, know that they can advocate for themselves, give them the tools to advocate for themselves and to manage the frustrations that they might be feeling and the challenges that they might be feeling, and really honor their growth. We also know that your kids are going to come home tired. Their cognitive load during the day has been intense, and they're going to be wiped. And that is to be expected. That is normal. We hope that when you come together at the end of a busy day, that you meet your child and wrap them up in family and can help them to take some space from the busyness of the school day. During ages 8 through 10, your child is changing. Some of these things you may already be aware of, but I think it's important to find out what the child development researchers also know about this age range. Students who are ages 8 through 10 are becoming more aware of their peers' opinions and the adults' opinions of them. They are interested in taking on more responsibility. They are eager to take on new challenges. At this age, your child's peer relationships become more important. And they're also developing their own point of view and their own opinions and their own worldview. At this age also, students are experiencing a wider range of emotions. They are able to understand and articulate more nuance around the emotional range that they're feeling. And they're also becoming more aware of the impact of their own actions on others around them. We are so happy that we had this time together to communicate and share with you more about what third grade looks like at Dorothy Fox. And we want you to feel free to contact us. You can email us. You can send us private messages through Parent Square at any time. We are available to answer questions big and small. We believe that good, solid communication helps our team and our families to navigate this year successfully. We are so thankful for being back in school, and most of all, we're thankful that you are sharing your child with us.